Assalamu alaikum. Let's make a watercolor painting using glazing technique. First off, just draw the rough features in the eye socket, nose. Look at the face in shapes. So just add in basic shapes, ovals for eye sockets, and then where the pupil is, and yeah, just keep measuring as you go along. So over here I've used eyes as the basic measurement. Okay, just add in light features, hairline, where the hairline is, because eventually we'll erase all of this as we'll be doing watercolor washes. So I've added the first wash, a very light one, and now another layer on it, just looking at where the forehead is in shadow, crease lines on the forehead, and the side of the cheek that is in shadow. Just using very light washes over here. Don't want to go in with a dark color because we won't be able to erase it. A bit of depth in the eye area. So observe very carefully. It's like use your brush as a pencil. So all the measurements, keep repeating measurements, and just do light strokes that you can blend in. Using a fine brush, I add details in the eyes, leaving that white highlight. Making a portrait is an interesting process, and it's always the artist's interpretation. Many people just struggle with likeness, but I feel that more than likeness, it's the personality that perhaps you can try and depict. And the one way to do that is to look at the face from different angles and to observe how features move when the person is talking, when the person is silent, and what are the main features. You focus on the main features and then you keep adding them. Okay, so as I go along, I erase more lines. And now this is the crucial bit for the eyes. I've added a bit of shadow behind the face just to bring the face pop out from the background. Defining the cheek area, under the lips and the jaw. As you can see that I have lightly added color in different steps, and I haven't added a lot of water to my brush because I don't want to warp the paper, and it's allowing for the painting to dry fairly quickly, and that allows me to move all over the painting, all over the face. So whenever you're doing the face, keep in mind that don't focus on one area too much. Look at it in relation to the rest of the face, and that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the background, I'm looking at how the ear is, how the light is falling on the ear, and then how the neck is or how the eyes are. And you can see just as my color is getting more intense, the features of the face are becoming clearer I'm adding main shadows. For a face like this, where you don't see a lot of deep shadows, a gradual approach always works better, and you can leave the highlight areas like around the forehead, under the eye, and on the bridge of the nose. Define the lips a bit more, the cheekbone. Also use a bigger brush when you're adding bigger strokes. It just gives you a sense of abundance, and just restrict the use of the smaller brush for details like those in the eyes. I've done a watercolor portrait after 30 years, I think, and I found it a bit challenging, to be very honest. However, it was really a lot of fun to do this. And I think I'll be making more watercolor paintings in future. So when you look at this face, there's not a lot of lines. It's a fairly smooth face with smooth skin. So you have to be careful. Just add the shadows at the right spot and leave the highlights, because when you're doing a watercolor portrait, you want the whiteness of the paper to shine through. And that's the beauty of glazing, because you're gradually working the details, you're gradually working the shadows, and you're being mindful of where you leave the highlights. Working in those crease lines on the forehead, around the eyes, and on the chin area. So his skin tone, it has a lot of yellow ochre and a bit of pink in it. And to offset it, I've used sea green in the background, and I feel that that really brings out the tones of his face. And I feel that the portrait is almost done.